How's it going, everyone? Hey, Amy. Welcome to the first episode of the Ultimate Assist Me Q&A. Anyway, this first episode is going to cover more about Strider and Hawkeye, but in general there was a lot of questions going around about the entire show, about the existence of Ultimate Assist Me, how it came to be, and pretty much a lot of questions in regards to, do you have the game? Did you steal the game? Did you have to bribe Seth Killian? Well, yes to all of the above. But more seriously, Capcom came to us. In regards to producing a show like Assist Me for the entire new members of cast, they came to us because supposedly they were fans of the show and they enjoyed it. So it's really, I was pretty humble about the whole thing because I didn't know if they wanted to put like a giant marketing scheme into the hands of, well, essentially a bunch of fans, which is what we are. But at the same time, they really liked it. They wanted us to produce the exact same thing we were doing, but just for the new characters, and we were more than happy to do such a big project. So we officially worked for Capcom. I hope you guys are enjoying the episode so far, and there is a lot more to come, but let's get to the other questions right now.
I remember a source saying that Hawkeye was going to have upwards of, I think, like 15 to 20 different attacks that all did different types of debuffs, like your poison and your freeze and things like that. In your Assist Me video, the only outstanding one that wasn't just a basic trap appeared to be poison, and I was just wondering if there were any other debuffing abilities he had maybe attached to his normals that you didn't have the time to mention, or if poison is really the only unique one to Hawkeye.
So does Hawkeye have any more status-changing moves besides poison? Unfortunately, no. Poison seems to be the only one that actually hits the opponent and causes damage over time. You can technically consider the trap shot, which is, I think, fireball forward with medium. That'll hit the opponent and drop them like a weight to the ground. And there's some pretty tricky stuff you can do with that move, but as far as like things you can do to a character, like there's no slow arrow, for example. There seems to be only a poison one. But as of right now, Hawkeye still has a lot of technology that's going to be exposed later on, I think. He seems pretty good at the start, but if you're looking for those status elements, yeah, I think it's just the one.
When you XFactor, you get a certain speed boost. Does that mean that when you XFactor into Ouroboros, do you get more Ouroboros shots fired off with XFactor on than when you don't have XFactor on?
Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think Ouroboros changes too much as far as XFactor. It increases the damage greatly, which is why I was saying Ouroboros is the best when you're in XFactor. But as far as like more shots fired, they definitely travel way faster than you would initially presume. But it doesn't change the status of them any different. There's not like more discs that come out based off Ouroboros. It just does a ton of damage if they actually hit.
Why do you prefer the big fancy control pad over the basic controller, whether it be PS3, Xbox, whatever? Just curious. And do you recommend getting the big fancy control stick if we don't have it?
You know, it actually surprises me how often I still get this question. A lot of people want to know making the transition from controller to arcade stick and the process that goes with that. But to be honest, for myself, I was a pad user a long time ago. Back in the days of X-Men vs. Street Fighter and Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, we were playing those games on like PlayStation 1 and in arcades. But when Marvel vs. Capcom came around, I loved the game so much that I actually learned how to use a joystick or arcade stick in the actual arcade. So it was a very tiresome process of months and months of eventually getting good with using an arcade stick, and I essentially dropped pad completely because I liked joystick more. But in reference, it's complete personal preference. There are some extreme top players, and especially in Marvel games, that are pad players, and there's other top players in Street Fighter 4 that are pad players as well. So I wouldn't discourage you from switching. It's an entire personal preference. Some people prefer one than the other, but if anything, Fnatic and I think Wolfcrone plays on pad. These guys are excelling top players at Street Fighter 4 and Marvel, so don't let that discourage you if you want to still use a pad.
When you're producing Assist Me, how do you know these people? They play the character so well. For example, Jill. So, like, do you know her as a friend? or like did you audition to be a cosplayer for the 2-part?
I actually get this question a lot too. When it comes to all the actors of Assist Me, so far for everyone that you've seen, I'm not going to talk about anything that's going to be coming up, but for all the actors that include X-23, Jill, Wesker, and Dr. Doom, they're all friends. The lucky thing that I've been put into, or the lucky situation that I've been put into, is that I'm the son of eccentric theater actors and acting performers and acting teachers, so they have a lot of connections with people as far as people I've grown up with that are actors as well. And for the sake of Wesker and Doom, surprisingly, are really good friends in real life. That might seem a little weird. But Wesker also met, through going to conventions and such, met Jill, and then Jill was also a fan of the show before the episode and wanted to come down. Believe it or not, the Jill actress actually flew down all the way from Hawaii just to be in the show. So mad props to her, or her name is Spiff Zaya, and she does all of her work as well, so she actually made those costumes. Yeah, as far as everyone else and almost anyone else that's going to be used in the show, they're friends of friends, and it's kind of neat keeping it tight like that, because working with people you know on a big project like Assist Me, that can put you in the same room in the same position for over 12 hours on end, can be pretty exhausting, but being able to laugh with these people, it's pretty fun.
Max, I can't wait for more Ultimate Assist Me. Now, Strider's speed and air mobility remind me of X-23 and Zero. My question is how his normal attacks fare as far as speed and priority go when compared to some of the other characters in the game.
You're absolutely right on X-23 and Zero. Strider does play a similar role. He's a fast-moving character with a lot of options, a lot of mix-ups, but at the same time, he has low damage output. Zero's the same way. You can get some long and extended combos with Zero in vanilla Marvel vs. Capcom 3, but in Ultimate it's a little bit more difficult because of some of his loops. They don't work as easy anymore. But Strider's normals have some pretty decent priority. The only problem is his launcher. If you technically do a light, medium, and heavy, and then forward heavy, which is a forward slash that gets you closer into launcher, the launcher barely hits. That's the biggest problem between his normals, is that his launcher is actually not great. But if you're looking for damage, you can actually extend several combos on the ground and then follow into a launcher with select assists, making it a lot easier. But the general thing I like to do to make his moves more safe is to cancel them into his satellite fireball. So you would do a normal, and you know it's not safe, you would cancel it into the, I forget what it's called, but it's like Formation A. And it hovers a satellite right around him. That move is like a sonic boom, and it just sits there, and it immediately cancels a move, and he recovers super fast. The other thing you can also do is to summon the other formation types, which are the Tiger, the Bomb, or the Hawk. The Tiger and the Hawk come out really fast, and he can follow them up pretty well too. So if you're looking for a point to end your block string with his normals and be safe, cancel him into one of those special moves and you'll be just fine.
My question is about Strider. Looks like a really solid rushdown character. I'm wondering how you think he stacks up to other rushdown characters like Zero or Magneto or to some extent Dante. And also how you think he's going to affect the meta, how you think he's going to affect the tournament scene, whether he's going to be used a lot. Whether you think he's going to be a high execution character like Viper or kind of brain dead like Wolverine.
So Strider isn't exactly an easy to use character by any means. He's not he's not as easy to use as Wolverine. He has some more difficult aspects to him, but the biggest problem is that the guy has around 750,000 health, putting him at the lowest next to Phoenix. Now, this will change the meta because Strider's damage output, like I was saying earlier, is really low. The guy doesn't do a lot of damage. If anything, I think with a regular level 1, you max out around 5 to maybe 550, and you just can't get any more. Hit stun has changed a lot in this game. He's not nearly as high execution as a character like Viper by any means, but he's more of a, he's probably the most devious mix-up character in the entire game. He has some stuff regarding his double jump, his teleports, and his air control that make him really good. The only problem is that you have to be super careful. If you eat a few disruptors from full screen from Magneto, that's like half life. If you accidentally miss up a a teleport that's at least half-life, if not dead. If not, well, complete death, yeah, because most characters and some combos with assists and DHCs easily do 750k. So he's going to change the metagame quite a bit, but at the same time, he's going to be a hard game. He's going to be a hard character to use. It's going to be a challenge for the players, and I'm actually looking forward to the challenge because it'll force me to play safer. I'm used to playing Wesker and a teleport mix-up character that has 1.1 million health, so if anything, you could be stupid sometimes and just throw out a dumb teleport. But with Strider, you really can't do that, and I kind of like that because it makes him more like Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Strider was a normal health character in Marvel 1, but in Marvel 2, if you got touched, it was game over. The guy had really low health. But in general, I think he'll be used in in tournament play quite a bit, but you're gonna have to be really careful.
Would you say that now that Hawkeye is master of projectiles, Taskmaster is completely inferior with his arrows now?
Hawkeye's projectiles are really good. They have a ton of durability and he can keep away very effectively. However, the biggest downside to Hawkeye is that he does not have a jumping angled down arrow. All of his shots angle up, and I haven't been able to find one unless there's one hidden somewhere in his special moves. I think I saw in a video that I didn't highlight in the episode where he can actually shoot upwards with his normal attack. Like if you press, I think it's back and fierce, he'll do a charging shot which will release 3 arrows similar to his regular shot. And you can actually angle that upwards. I didn't find this while making the Assist Me series, but it's an interesting thing. Maybe you might be able to do that in the air, but it doesn't change the fact that Taskmaster's arrows still do a ton of damage on block. And he is still a much more combo effective character than Hawkeye is. You're gonna have to change some things with Taskmaster than you might not have been able, or that you would have been able to do in Marvel Vanilla. But he's still really good in the raw damage department because he's got that long and extensive combo ability. Taskmaster is definitely a different character than Hawkeye, and he is very unique by comparison.
Hey there, Maximilian. This is Only When an Angel, and the first Strider question is, for the character with 2 level 3s, I wanted to know whether it's better to use his signature Ouroboros, like in MVC2, where it shit the hell out of players like Clockwork did, or Ragnarok, which seems to do a hell lot of damage for a level 3, but maybe it's just the overall damage or health nerf that Ultimate brought to the table.
I'm actually a big fan of Ragnarok. Ragnarok does 450,000 points of unscaled damage like most level 3s in the game, but the difference is that regular non-X-Factored Ouroboros doesn't do a ton of damage, and push blocking can hurt it quite a bit. It's actually better not to throw out the discs because they can push block the discs really easily, and it's easier just to get in or mix up with like a teleport. But in general, I like for, if you're not X-Factored, just doing a Ragnarok. Ragnarok can be pretty hard to combo into a Strider because you have to OTG. And if you're at the end of a combo with a lot of hits in it and your hit stun is decaying like crazy, if you do a satellite shot and blow them up for an OTG, most characters in the game will pop right out of it. Even it doesn't matter how fast you are, it's because the hit stun hits it so hard that they just flop right out, and you would think it would hit. But in general, yeah, Ragnarok's the best for a level 3 regular, but if you're looking to kill 1 to 2 characters, level 2 or 3 X-Factor Ouroboros is disgusting. It's really good, and if you have the right mix-up potential in between using them, you can literally take out 2 characters if you're good enough with the right assists.
Is there going to be a button in options or on the screen after you select characters that will allow you to turn off X-Factor? Now I know it's not as bad in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, but I'd just like to know if the option is available.
What's up, dude? Nice backyard. There's no way for you to change X-Factor, similar to Vanilla, as far as I know right now. But I wouldn't be too worried about that, or in general they said there was going to be DLC for this game coming out relatively soon after the launch. Now, I'm not the official word for things that are coming up for Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 by any means, but there's DLC coming out that allows you to have infinite hypermeter for all your characters at any given time so people can have fun and throw hypers around like crazy. And I wouldn't be surprised if Capcom got enough responses from fans that if there was a mode to disable XFactor for the rounds, that could be a possibility, maybe later in DLC. The thing is that XFactor is valued as a primary gameplay mechanic. It would be like taking the focus attack out of Street Fighter 4. So I'm not surprised that they wouldn't include a feature or an option to turn that off in the first one, because it kind of focuses on that. And XFactor being changed to having being activated in the air, it means that they value XFactor in the primary gameplay mechanics of Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So I think the only way that that's ever going to happen is if you start a tournament, you blow XFactor right at the start, and then you play your game. Or they could potentially do DLC down the line, but it depends on the request of the fans, I'd imagine. So that's going to just about do it for the first question and answer session for Ultimate Assist Me. Like I was mentioning in the first announcement video for these, I'll be doing one Q&A session for every single episode of Ultimate Assist Me, all 6 of them, leading right up until the launch of the game. So if you have questions in regards to specific characters, this is the best means to do so. This one was covering Hawkeye and Strider, and I hope I got to a couple of your guys' more initial responses, but as you probably have seen, I didn't have much of the time to get to the question and comments section below, so we had to focus on the video responses because we got quite a few. But in general, look forward to the next Q&A announcement video. So if you're looking forward to having a question answered about Assist Me, about the game in general, you can definitely ask again during that video. But thank you everyone that submitted a comment or submitted a video to me. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you in the next episode of Ultimate Assist Me Q&A. Thanks for watching, everyone. Come on, Amy. Let's go play some video games, right? Right? You're just a dog.